Hi guys, it's Sam.
And I'm Nicki, and we are just two lassies. Clink, clink, clang.
We're going to evaluate where we are now from where we were at 25. So 10 years on, what we would have done different, what we would tell ourselves.
Would we date ourselves
Yeah.
at 25 compared to now?
Yeah.
Sam, what's your answer?
No. I was a mess. I had so much healing I had to go through. Oh, it was just a rough time in my life at that point. So I had the house, I was on my own with the two girls, still setting up the business and still going through, obviously, the breakup, even though, so yeah, I just wasn't mentally stable. I was not mentally stable around that point. So no, I would not date myself. I would have been toxic as fuck.
Yeah, I would not have dated myself at 25. Absolutely not. I was with someone at the time who I genuinely was in love with. But I was a very anxiously attached, codependent person who fully relied on him to give me my value and my worth, which that was not his job at all. And I completely understand why he ended it.
Looking back now, you can see it.
Totally understand. Yeah. He was also 3 years younger than me.
Right, okay.
So, I mean, at the time, so I was 25, so he would have been, 22? Is that right? Aye. My maths is not math in 22. I was so out my tits and painkillers. That's a full thing. We're both out our tits and painkillers because we're not doing good right now. However, yeah, so he was 22 at the time. He was quite an adrenaline junkie. He wanted to go out, have fun, have a laugh, experience new things. And I was just dragging him and keeping him down like a weight, like an anchor. And I kind of knew it at the time, but I didn't want to admit it to myself or anything like that. And it wasn't until our relationship ended a year and a bit later that actually I started to ask the questions that are involved in becoming a wee bit more self-aware and going to that kind of, you go through a spiritual awakening kind of thing.
That's when mine happened as well.
After that relationship.
Yep, I was around that same time because I needed to know who I was without being someone's partner and out with being a mum.
Oh yeah.
I had so much of self-discovery that I had to go through before I could be with anyone.
100%.
Even dating, I wasn't even interested in dating.
You had two little girls though, that's different.
Yeah.
Because your priorities are different then, you're putting them first.
Yeah.
For sure, which is what you need to do, see when you're in that survival mode. Especially when you're so distracted by what's happening with the girls and taking care of them, actually having that time to look into you must have been few and far between, but you still did it.
Yeah.
You still went ahead and did it.
I had no choice, you have to do it.
Yeah.
I could have been one of the mums that were toxic and weren't, taking care of themselves and just kind of handing their kids off and not really wanting to do with them because they're in such a mental rut, which is a horrible place to be. So if you are in that place, please go get help. But immediately I did go and get counselling because I thought, I'm not getting through this on my own. I need that backup right now.
See, that's a smart idea because some of us don't want to actually go to therapy. It's one of these ideas where it's
it's scary to admit that you think there's something going on though that you need help with.
But also I think this in our Scottish culture, maybe we have a low-key mental breakdown and then after it we feel like we're being pure dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't need listen. It was just the hormones. I was being pure dramatic. I don't need to go see a therapist. Actually, you do.
You do.
And I think everybody should. Everybody should see a therapist for sure. It's so
at
good
some
for
point,
you.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes and works your muscles in the gym, but how you working that?
Yeah, you need to take care of that. That's priority.
Exactly. And
even now, I still go. I still see him. How many times? Maybe about 4 times a year. I go just to keep on top of it.
Yeah, keep a catch up every time you go. How you felt the last? So if you go, how many? 4 times.
4 times a year.
So once every 3 months. Right. So every 12 weeks you're giving him a breakdown of where you're at and how you're feeling and.
Yep. If I've been through anything, I need an outside perspective of someone that's not in my close network.
Yeah.
It gives me that. It always helps me see things from a different point of view.
Yeah, different perspectives. You'll actually questions.
Yeah, I find that's so helpful.
So how were you, so if you think about when you were 25 until now, what was obviously the catalyst for you working on yourself was the breakup with the girl's dad.
Yep.
So what did you actually do? So you went to therapy.
I went to therapy.
But what else did you do for you in order to like build yourself up? Was there things that you like noticed that you like, did you do something and you noticed that it really, really helped you? Or did you do things and you were like, oh no, like did you go back and forth with your patterns? Like let the people know how you got from A to B.
So I got massively into personal development. A few books that I read were Rich Dad Poor Dad, loved that book. Flip Flop CEO, and The Slight Edge. Slight Edge, I highly recommend, get that read. Gosh, I've got a whole, my bookshelf is just full of personal development books now. Like I'm obsessed with them. But that's what started opening up my mind to different ways of thinking and viewing me as a person and how my brain works. There's another one as well, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Brilliant. But again, you need to be open to thinking differently and you putting yourself through that, because I wasn't a big reader at the time. But see, once I started and then I started thinking differently, I was like, oh no, I'm getting something out of this.
You get passionate about it. You have to become passionate about where you're going, and that's what really drives you, isn't it?
Yeah. So I started doing all that. Then I loved writing down goals. I loved the whole concept of manifesting and wanting to understand more about that. And then I got into meditating. So I'd force myself to do it 10 minutes a day, mostly done that in the morning, just to get my brain, you know, in the right frequency of what was for the day ahead. And then I had a rock in my pocket, because I read this in a book, and it's like called the Gratitude Rock.
Okay.
So it's like, I went to the beach with the girls one day, and I just seen this stone, and I was like, that is so pretty. Now you see like a pretty stone. And I'm like, I want that.
It looks shiny and sparkly, unlike all the other stones in the beach.
But it was smooth as well. And like, and I was like, I'm going to have that. So I kept it in my pocket for about 6 months. And every time I felt it, I had to remind myself of something I was grateful for in that moment.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. So you're bringing in practices into what you're learning, because I found that it was all kind of this, but actually doing a physical action for this, almost to connect the two, the mind and the body.
Yep, I found that helped massively. But then I started doing my journaling as well. So again, I done that in the morning and night, and that was just asking myself personal questions, like how are you feeling the day? What was something really good that you noticed that happened today? What was something not so good? Could it been avoided? Is there something I could have changed? What am I grateful for? You know, it's all these like wee moments to help me a better understand of what I liked and what I didn't like. And then when I started getting like the negative spiral thinking, I'd have a bobble on my left wrist, because that's my dominant wrist. And any time I noticed that I was spiraling, I'd ping the bobble. Yep. As if like, you know, again, another physical action of like, boom, we're not going into this again. Stop it, change the thought immediately.
100%. I love that.
Yeah, so that was, that's what I'd done. But I was always kind of pulled back into the partying side as well. Like, I wasn't big in partying in my 20s, obviously like with the girls. But when I did go out, I just never wanted to go home. I was that person of like, oh, I'm out, fuck it, I'm out all night.
I never get to go out, so if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out all night kind of thing.
Yeah, but then the next day I felt, obviously as we all do, you feel shit, you feel awful, and I'm like, I've just wasted a good solid day, what am I doing?
Why did I do that? Because you're getting that when you're drinking, you're getting that instant dopamine, aren't you? So you're like, oh my God, let's stay out all night, and actually you're like, fuck, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and somebody fucking, I don't even like them.
I'm in someone's kitchen, I don't even know.
Best pals them in the fucking toilet, but I don't even like them. I need to get back up the road, can't I get a taxi or nothing? But exactly. You in bed.
Oh my God, you would cry. I'm standing there waiting for a fucking taxi in the cold. Oh, exactly. I hate those nights. Yeah, so I stopped him abruptly.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. I
No.
don't like it. And I'm not the type of person either that just goes out and does one night stands. Like that was
know
just
what you
never
mean.
my cup of tea. I just wasn't for me. Even having my own house, I wasn't like, oh, just come back to mine.
No,
Nah,
I
please don't. Leave me alone.
I'm one of those people that was like really up for a house party. We didn't want anybody in my own house.
Oh, I never ever done it at my house.
Aye.
Never. Because I was just so territorial, probably. Like, oh,
Well, I
'cause
guess
my
because
space with the girls.
Aye, see, that's the difference. Like when you've got children, you need to draw the line when you've got children. Like it would have been all right for me because I'm like, you know, whatever, it's just my stuff. I mean, I don't like folk being with my stuff anyway. I'm just like, nah. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When I was 25 at the time in this relationship, I need to tell you, like the daft fucking shit that I would do just in case someone relates to it. So if he didn't like act or say the way that I wanted him to act or the way I wanted him to say things, I would like go in a mood with him.
Because it wasn't going on your story.
Because it wasn't my story or my narrative. Because at the time, obviously, I'm not like this now. Otherwise, I would never admit this. But I would never admit this. But I used to like, looking back, because at the time I wasn't aware I was doing this. I only became aware when I started working on myself and actually be like, what the fuck was I doing there? What? So I used to fall out with him because I wanted to feel special and he wasn't making me feel special of the particular things that I wanted him to do or I wanted him to say, which means that I just looked like a fucking nut job. And then other things I would do is I understood that he would never, I'd obviously had like childhood trauma, right? And I knew that he would never like cheat on me or anything like that. So in my head, the only way that he would go is if he would die. He would die suddenly. That's the only way he would leave me. And because I was so codependent and had a double whammy rejection issue, for me, if he didn't give me a morning text, I would think he had died on the way to work, like seriously mental thinking. I would like constantly phone him until he answered his phone, and I mean, I would be in hysterics thinking that he'd actually died on the way to work and all that. Really? That is how deeply rooted my rejection and codependency was.
Wow.
It was just, see, when I think back, I'm like, the anxiety of living in...
Can you imagine you didn't do any work on yourself?
Mate,
what your life would be like?
Honestly,
right now?
I would be like a mess, like an absolute mess. I used to go out and get blackout drunk, which put me in a couple of very dangerous situations, ones of which I'd really not ever want to talk about,
Yeah.
you know? I had like loads of one night stands because in my head, that was love.
Yeah.
That was love, which obviously it wasn't. And see, when I look back on myself like 10 years ago, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Bitch, calm down, right? Everything's going to be okay. You're not broken, you just need to do a bit of work on yourself. Do you know what I mean? Not all hope is lost. And he'd broken up with me, rightly so, by the way. Totally still stand by that decision because I would have broke up with me too. And the turmoil that I was going through myself, which leaked into the relationship, because it always does. You can't get away from your stuff. At the end of the day, you're bringing two imperfect people together. So you need to remember that. And I was just too much of a burden to him, and that's all right, because again, I would have ended it myself. And it wasn't, I think I was 26 at the time. And then I was turning 27th in the September, and I briefly saw someone for about 4 weeks, and he was an absolute closed book narcissist. Honestly a narcissist, and it was 4 weeks. And 4 weeks, can we just hang with that? He love bombed me to fuck. He was already trying to take my pals away from me. Amy was like, this guy's no good for you, and thankfully I saw his true colours, and that is what triggered the whole thing. So at 27 is when it started for me. And I started asking a question. Why do I feel so anxious all the time? I don't think life is supposed to be like that. So that's the question I began to ask myself. And then it just kind of went from there. I discovered Tony Robbins. I also discovered she's a gorgeous black woman, American, called Iyanla Vanzant. It's quite complicated to spell, but she is just like, she's like a spiritual mother. She's a psychological coach. She's so fucking good. And she doesn't let you spin stories or bullshit. She calls you out on it straight away. She's the type of woman, she's the spiritual mother that, you know, you would want.
Yeah.
And through Tony Robbins and Iyanla Vanzant, just watching, and I mean hours and hours of YouTube footage, I had this black book. And it's not like popular black books when you get a list of folks' numbers in it, they go shagging away that. It was like psychological stuff, rejection, codependency, like those were the things that I really, really related to. So I just wrote down loads and loads and loads of stuff, and through that I began to answer the questions, why am I so anxious? Well, actually I'm anxious because I'm codependent, because dad left, and because dad left not once but twice, I made that, when I was a little girl, I made that about me, because that's what children do.
Yeah.
They make it about them. Dad left, I'm not good enough. Mum did this, I must be no good enough. And it really came down to the belief of me not being good enough.
Yeah.
That this is why I was thinking this way, this is why I was behaving this way, this is why whatever. And that is how I went from one height to the other. But when I started, it was the question, why do I feel so anxious? Because I don't think life should be like this. Surely I should be able to find joy. Surely I couldn't, I shouldn't be sad all the time. Asking that question and what came after it was literally the catalyst and the jet fuel required to like push me into being so passionate about figuring out who I was, why I was acting the way I was, and getting myself a better quality of life. And thank God he dumped me. Thank God for that 4-week narcissist weirdo. Thank God for all that, because see if that didn't happen, fuck knows where I would be.
Yeah, same.
Fuck knows where I would be.
Now you can look back and you can see the reasons of why it had to happen. You had to grow, you had to become who you are now. That's
why I truly believe that like all experience is good experience. Yes, we go through bad experiences in our life. I'm going to take grief away and shelf that, because grief is something that I've not had something happen really close to me. My papa died and stuff, but he was an old man, and it made sense, and it's just the way of life.
Grief just shows
but grief
how much
as
you
in
love
instant shock, or grief as in, somebody instantly dying, or somebody a parent getting diagnosed with cancer and then going within a couple of months. I've not experienced that type of grief, so I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shelf that for now, because that's none of my business, because I've never experienced it. However, everything else that comes under that bracket, even the stuff that we would consider bad, or negative, or trauma ensuing, I actually think you can get so much from life experiences. It's really about your perspective. And as you're saying about your coach, your therapist, asking those questions that are going to give you that, you're viewing it from here, but he's asking you questions that maybe you're viewing it from there now. And all of a sudden you can see it from a higher perspective in a different way.
Yeah, I love
Sometimes you need to see it from a bird's eye view, or you need to see it for the left, or you need to see it for the right, you know, and just look at it like, actually, not all hope is lost. Everything's going to be okay. And with a little bit of self-care and a little bit of self-love and determination, you can actually get yourself to a place where you are feeling confident, you're not relying on other people for your self-worth and your value, you are looking at friendships as a genuine sisterhood instead of competition, which us women are bad for. We're not in competition, we're certainly not in competition to get men either, so let's get that out of our head immediately. You can come out and come through. So no, I wouldn't date myself at 25, but I sure as fuck would date myself at 35.
Oh, aye.
You know it.
Yeah. We're out the other side though. We're out the other side.
It's funny because life's a never-ending journey, and I'm sure the next
We're just
5
going to get
years
lessons
are
thrown
gonna-
at us constantly. Like, where we're going to be at 40 is going to be so
are.
different to where we are right now.
Because, you know, see when I think about things like, what am I going to do if something big happens, like the losing of a parent, like, you know, these massive life changes? How am I going to be able, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. But I seen this TikTok the other day, and this woman had said, because you're not equipped for it right now, but when you experience it, you're going to become equipped to deal with it because it's an experience that you're going to come through. Yes, it's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, it's difficult as fuck. But I actually don't think it's designed to be easy.
No.
And I don't think it should be, because anything that's really easy to get, I mean, think about how we just dispose of it now. Like how guys feel when it's easy to get their hole. I can get my hole off her. I don't need to make any effort.
No effort. Their effort is, I'm going to go and react to an Instagram story or like their Instagram story. That's it.
And I'm guaranteed to get some.
Fuck.
Whereas men like the hunt. That's what they're designed for.
Yep.
The hunt. Let's go get it. Put that effort in. Have that fulfillment and that successful feeling. And it's the same, like, you know, when you're out going to get a woman, put that effort in and make them make the effort.
Yeah.
Make
You're not
them
going
make
to
the
go
effort.
anywhere if you're, well, if you say no, then fair enough. Bye.
Aye, listen,
But-
listen, I know we're back to this subject, right? But listen, just for anything, not even men, set your boundaries and say no, and see when it's a big fat no. The trash will take itself out.
It does.
The trash will walk itself out. Believe me, you don't need to do
I feel so much
anything.
better now when I've started saying no. And when I've started being like, that doesn't sit well with me, I'm just not going to do it. See, when that energy leaves, you feel lighter.
As former people pleasers though, when we were in our stuff 10 years ago, even the last few years, by the way, because these things, you heal in layers. Imagine like a pack of Post-it notes. You know, you take the first one off, that's just one layer, babe.
I was thinking,
That's
I
just
thought
one layer.
my head went Shrek, onions.
Onions, Post-it notes, whatever, baby. It's like, it happens in layers. So when it comes to like being people pleasers, how hard did you actually find? Excuse me. Oops. Sam's like, no, that's a boundary.
Blow that way.
How hard did you actually find it to start saying no?
Oh my
Because I
God.
found my arse and my tits were sweating the first time that I was beginning to say
I
no.
genuinely felt like I could throw up on the spot because I thought, oh no, if I start saying no to this person, I'm going to lose them. They're not going to be in my life anymore. And do you know what? Good. Because they were clearly taking advantage of my good nature. So yeah, they
But
weren't.
also you realise when you say no, sometimes they just back down a wee bit and you're like, that was actually easier than what I thought.
That's all I had to do.
Somebody saying no, really? And then obviously sometimes when saying no is just like, you might get a little bit more of a pushback, which I think as a people pleaser is your worst nightmare, because I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like it. I'm a peace and love. I'm a lover, not a fighter. We're Libras, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean?
I bet we're two differently, but you're September, I'm October. Quite different.
I'm a ball-head away from you.
So you're more of a people pleaser than what I am.
Oh, Christ.
September one's like,
Damn it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely more soft, I would say.
Yeah.
But I find it hard first saying no, and then when you do, you're just kind of like, you know what? You get a no, you get a no.
I've got my
limit.
limit, so I let people slide with things for a certain amount of time, and then when I feel like pissed off to the max, like burning with rage, I'm like, right, I'm at my limit now. I'm going to need to start saying no.
I think though it takes like a lot for us to get furious though.
Aye, it does take
I think
me a
it
lot.
takes a lot for me to get absolutely raging and fed up. So see when
I think it's because I always try to see it from their point of view now. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, they're saying this, they're doing that because of X, Y, and Z. So I'm making up all these excuses for them, for their behaviour, of how they're treating me, that's not okay either. So I'm like, well,
yeah, but we're also judging people from our perspective and where we are. So for me, for example, I was with someone when I was 21 and we actually reunited when I was 31, and because 10 years had passed and because I had changed, I thought that he had changed when actually he did, but not quite as much, or not quite to the level like where I was. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, by the way. I'm just saying I did a shit ton of work and maybe he just did a wee bit, right? But it doesn't mean that he's right or wrong. It's just my experience of it. But I'd found that and I was like, actually, no. Because at 21, I would have laid my life in the line for this person. But at 31, I was like, bye.
I think like because when you're at such like, a certain level, they're not attractive anymore.
No, because there's certain like things immature wise that I used to do and that I used to be that were perfectly acceptable for him to do as well, because we were both like that. But I'd got to a point where I was just like, well, I'm 31, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and this is how I'm acting at this age, this is who I am at this age. And he was just kind of stuck in a time that he couldn't really get out of. He was stuck at Mr. Thursday Night, So Sweet, dead popular. Do you know what I mean? Like, going out, having a laugh. He was kind of stuck in that time and not able to really like grow up and who is he now and what does it mean now and you know all that kind of stuff. And I don't have any issue with the guy at all. I wish him all the best, but he just wasn't for me at 31 when he really was at 21. So it just shows you, And even the ex that I'm talking about who ended the relationship with me, rightfully so, I don't think we would be compatible now either.
Nah.
I think we still are two different people. Even though I've not seen him in a long time, in fact, maybe I'm speaking out of turn because I don't actually know what he's like now. But all I've got is my past relativity, which is who he was then, which he might not be now, but who I am now would never match with who he was then. Which I'm glad about, because we're both out with different people and we're both happy with who we're with. So it just shows you like you meet people where you're at. And you only make decisions from the knowledge that you had at the time.
I think you meet people at the right time because you both need to go through it together to learn whatever it is you need to learn within that relationship. I mean, you walk away from yours and you've reevaluated them and you've been learning your lessons from them, but that doesn't mean to say that they've done that. Like, they maybe are not, like, open to it or don't even realise, like, oh, okay, I need to go and, like, think what happened, what went wrong there. Guys don't tend to do that. They tend to just be like, brush it off, on to the next, and then circle back round a few months later if that's not working out.
Because they're not... This is, like, stuff, like, behavioural-wise that we've, you know, been reading up on and things like that, but we know that, like, when men and women break up, they act differently. So as women, we're surrounding ourselves with friends, we're surrounding ourselves with family, we cry about it, we talk about it all the time. And then a couple months or, you know, a few months down the line, we're glowing up, we're going out, we're in a place where we're like, do you know what, I feel better about myself. Whereas guys tend to just get up and get out and just kind of like almost ignore what was going on over there. Maybe they're a wee bit upset, but mostly they're just like, nah, up and on, next one. And it's not until, you know, a few months down the line where their emotions are like, you actually have to deal with this, like what's coming up. And then they address it, and that's when you sometimes find that they come back, which is like a super... It's you're feeling good about yourself and they're maybe not. So the combination of the two, if the relationship was toxic, is not maybe a good idea because you're like, well, I'm feeling good. Oh yeah, I knew you'd come back.
I think at that point though, you need to have a conversation to see if he's changed. But not even... If you want to give him another chance, you need to more look at the actions than the words.
Yeah, actions and words are like they're absolutes. They're absolutes. You have to look at the actions. Like, there's going to be one day that I'm going to tell my story on here about one of my relationships that I'm keeping private for now, but it's got a lot to do with words and actions and, you know, maximum effort. Like Deadpool, maximum effort, you know. You really need to look at what they're doing. And then what they're saying, if it doesn't marry up with their actions, you have to become deaf. Almost become deaf to what they're saying and solely look at what they're doing. Because, you know, if what they're doing isn't reflecting what you really, really want, then you need to
voice it.
Yeah, you need to voice it. And you know what's happening, like, relationships can be incredibly complicated because there's, as I said before, there's two not perfect people coming together. You get somebody with their stuff, somebody else with their stuff, and they're coming together. And where are they both at? Has someone done a lot of work? Has someone not done a lot of work? What stage are they at? You know, there's a lot of things that go into it because, like, you're making great memories and things like that, but then what happens if it turns to shit? You know, or somebody acts like an arsehole, or, you know, whatever. You don't really know. I feel like I've went off in like another mad tangent.
No, we're back on his relationships. It's just so relatable though.
I'm at my tits and painkillers, guys.
Me too.
But do you know, this kind of relates back to the accountability episode as well. Like, you know, at the start, me telling you my psycho behaviour when I was younger. Listen, I'm admitting this because hopefully if there's someone watching who feels like they're just going out of their minds in this relationship, or they know deep down they're not acting right, like, girl, you are not alone. Just take a deep breath, take a step back. If you need to leave a relationship and focus on the best relationship you'll ever have, which is with yourself. Get to know you, take yourself out on dates, build up your confidence, build up who you are as a person. Be authentic, be genuine, who you actually are.
The more authentic you are though, like, the more in alignment you are with what's for you.
And the more you're going to shut doors on things that aren't for you and open doors for the people that actually want to be with you. If you think you're a little weirdo, a little strange cat, listen, there's other weirdos and other strange little cats out there as well. Like, all you need to do is be you and the door will open for you. But don't hold yourself back because what you went through as a child's coming up. Do you know what I mean? There's a little girl or a little boy, whoever you are, for the girls and the gays, that's living inside you, that just wants a hug, that just wants to know that they're safe. You're going to be okay.
You need to mother your inner child, like, show up for yourself the way that you felt you needed when you were younger.
Because sometimes we play the blame game. I was bad for a long time. My dad did this and it's my dad's fault that I'm like this, and my dad blah blah fucking blah. I'm like, bitch, you're in your 20s. And I still remind myself to this day, I'm like, bitch, you're in your 30s. You know, that happened 20 years ago. That happened back then. There's fuck all you can do about it.
You can't change
But what you can do now is you can parent yourself. Oh my God, the way that they said that was like, really, have they fallen out with me? Have I done something? Blah, blah, blah. No, girl, you're safe. Calm down. You're okay. Do you know what? We're going to get you a nice wee hot chocolate, because I know hot chocolate's going to put a smile on your face. Parent yourself, you know? And realise that whatever happened in your past, I mean, I know somebody whose fucking dad's dead. You know, dad's dead, mate. Dad's in a million fucking bits. You can't blame him anymore. You need to parent you. You know, and sometimes that's exactly how you need to say it, bit of tough love. Because at the end of the day, if you're softly, sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes you can't hear it. Sometimes people can't hear it. If Sam was to come to me with a situation, maybe it's a recurrent situation, right? And I'm softly, she can't hear me.
I prefer tough love. I prefer someone being so fucking blunt to my face and tell me straight up,
and we all know a gal who's blunt, and I go straight to her. I'm like, Listen.
Yes, I go hard now
Listen,
too.
Jane, I need the cold hard fucking facts punched into my gob right now. Go for
Tell
it.
me.
And then you're like, woof, woof, woof. Oh, that was...
It hurts for a minute,
was
then
a
after it, you're like,
hard
I
truth.
needed that, man. I
That
did. I
was a
needed that.
fucking hard-ass truth.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need
need your eyes open. And I just
Hold
really
yourself
can't be
accountable.
arsed, like, wasting any more time being in the pits and wallowing and self-pity. I just don't have time for it anymore.
No.
Like, no, whatever this situation is that's going on, whatever rut I'm in,
Do you know what?
it's no the end of the world. Fucking get back up.
Life's tough enough. Give yourself a fucking chance. Life is tough enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Get up and get back on. Sometimes you need to do it.
Go and
You
take
need
up
to
a
do
new
it.
hobby. I find that helps massively.
We've still to do pottery.
we still need to do pottery.
And decide what we're doing for our 35th birthdays because we're honestly back and forth
Ideas
about
would
it.
be great, please.
Yeah, write in an idea. Write in the comment
We don't know
box
whether we should
below.
do it us two or whether to have like our friends come as well.
I know,
So
we're-
options would be great.
Yeah,
We
please
did
tell
price
us.
one place up, and it was just an absolute rip-off. So I'm not paying that amount of money that they
£600
wanted.
for an hour.
An hour to play.
I know.
No, thank you.
Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
that's not happening.
No.
So ideas, please, would be fantastic.
So, to round up, the answer to the question, would we date ourselves at 25? The
Hells
answer
no.
is no.
No,
I would
honey.
not.
No.
But,
I love her dearly, and she got me through the worst times in my life.
and I'm, by the way, just let you know, I'm currently parenting her.
Yeah.
I'm not just parenting little Nicki at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you know what I mean? I'm
You
parenting...
need to do Teen as well. Teen Sam was a fucking rebel.
Mate, I
she needed
don't
reined
even
right
want to
in.
talk
The
about my
mouth she
fears.
had, the attitude she had.
I had the fucking black short hair, like, tonight will be a night over you. You know, I had
The
that
deep
whole
side, I
hair.
had the deep side fringe as
that
well.
on Poco.
I think I was probably red though. My hair was like red.
Red as fuck. My hair was black, and then I dyed my hair red. I had bright red roots and black hair.
Oh yeah, what a look.
Good old box dye for Sebeke, coming in strong.
Aye, box
We've
dye's the way
learned
to
from
go.
then.
That was
But
black
I-
cherry.
I'm parenting myself from, yesterday right back to when I was away.
Why? It's constant.
You know what I mean?
It's constant.
And it's all right. As like the more you get on, the more you it becomes like a habit.
I
It
keep
becomes
reminding
a nice
myself
thought
like
pattern.
it's not happening to me. It's happening for me. So
For-
whatever I'm going through, I'm like, right,
Yeah.
there's a reason I'm going through this. Let's just get through it.
That's a prime example of like looking at someone from that perspective and then jumping to there.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you have a different view on it. You're above it. You're looking at it from a different perspective and being like, actually, what could this be doing for me? How am I growing from this? Like the last year and a half,
The last year and a half of both of us has been a bit.
capital
been a bit wacky.
GROWTH, bitch, underline, bold, italics,
Yep.
you name it.
But see, if you
Like,
remove yourself from all the hardships of it and go around here and look at all the positives that have happened within that year and a half, how much have we grown like together
100%.
through all that?
I used to think that confidence was, I'll go do this and I'll get confident, but I've actually learned in the last year and a half that confidence, again, a bit like Post-its, is built in layers. It's built. So
I fake it sometimes
your,
if I
your
feel-
trauma and your stuff gets ripped away in layers. But then on the other hand, you're building something positive up on the other side.
Yeah.
And actually, this side's more than this side now. And so I've got an even, I'm standing, imagine like me metaphorically standing on a massive pile of like confident Post-its and I'm looking down at the trauma stuff like, fuck, I used to be there.
Yeah.
Fuck. All
That's a
of a
good way of
sudden I
looking
feel like rooted and grounded and in myself, and no matter what happens, like I'll be all right. Like I'll get through the other side of it, you know, everything's going to be all right. It's going to be stuff that happens. I've got my people here beside me if anything happens, you know. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to get myself back up and I'm going to continue to try and find joy in life and do what I can. And there's going to be days when I'm going to feel devastated. There's going to be days when I'm going to be feel frustrated and angry. But there's also going to be days when I'm feeling joy and happiness, and I'll be laughing and I'll be having great times. And That's
It's
the whole
like-
point of life. It's up and down.
Yeah,
up
it just
and down.
flows. You just need to go with
Yeah.
it and get yourself through the bad days. Have a way of how you cope with them that gets you through. Like for me personally, it's the gym. Like I have to drive and put my music up full blast. Normally it's Linkin Park, and I'm like, I need that. Like get out my system. I'm like, come on, yeah. I love their new album. That's my outlet, and then I go to the gym, and like everyone knows, you can sense my vibe when I'm in those days. They're like, yeah, we'll kind of leave Sam to do our thing today.
Yeah.
But then if I'm on a high vibe, they're all like, again, they can feel it. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone gather round, let's have a chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like,
and then your girls
come
make
together.
you feel better.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yep.
100%. Good community, women, sisterhood, building each other up, becoming encouraging. I know we've said all this shite before, but like,
It's
that's
so
what it's all
important,
about.
though.
It's
It's so important.
That's why we keep repeating ourselves on it. Like, let's build ourselves up. I can't be bothered with like this comparison. I've literally got it tattooed on me. Comparison is the thief of joy. It absolutely fucking is.
It is. Yeah. And if you don't have a community of women to support you, I highly recommend you go start doing hobbies to find them.
Exactly. I mean, Sam joined the gym and that's how she found a really good community of women. And you're only ever comparing yourself because you're feeling insecure, and that's got to do with that little girl inside of you that really needs a hug. She needs to feel safe.
Yeah.
So that's the first port of call. Close your eyes and imagine yourself. And like I imagine like little Nicki, and I can jump for ages. And the only reason I can jump for ages is because like I've seen photos of myself at different ages. I can't remember fully what it was like because it was so long ago, especially when I'm like 3, 4, 5. But anytime I can imagine that picture of me, and then I almost like just take her under my wing and let her sit on my knee and just give her a big hug and be like, girl, you're fine, like it's going to be okay, like I've got your back now, I'm in charge. And it's almost like that's my higher self. So if I was a kid, that's my higher self coming back and being like, girl, we've got this. So what would my higher self in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years be saying to me now? She'll be saying, girl, we're fine, we've got this. You're going to go through some stuff, but it's all right. Yeah, I've got you. So put yourself in that kind of perspective. And I know like when I say like higher self and like spiritual journey and stuff, some of that can seem a bit airy-fairy. I know there's a lot of people that don't believe in that, but listen, it's something that works for me.
Yep. You find what works for you.
See if it works. It doesn't matter how you sound, love. It doesn't matter how you sound. That's what I believe. I believe in a higher power. I believe in a higher perspective, and that's where I live. And it just makes me feel better. And if it's working, no one should be disagreeing with that, you know?
Yeah, you don't even need to tell people the way you cope with it is. You just do it.
No. Just let people go on with it. Let them believe what they want to believe. Obviously, if they're tearing other people down, you know, you just need to calm the fuck down.
What are you doing there?
You know? But if people are just getting on with it and they're being like nice to other people and they're being nice to themselves and they're just finding joy in their life, let them fucking believe what they want to believe.
Yeah.
It's none of your business anyway.
So that's us for...
That's us.
We're rounding that one up.
I feel like we're like dead behind the eyes because we're so out it in painkillers.
So sparkled
guys,
right now.
she's having the dental issues. I'm having like facial issues and period issues. Like it's a full fucking thing. So hopefully we've delivered and made someone feel better today.
I hope so. You made me feel better. I needed that.
You made me feel better
Thanks
as well.
So much. Thanks.
I got you.
I love you so much.
I've got you. But anyway, this has been Sam.
Yeah.
This has been Sam.
This has been Sam, but I don't know what to say.
This has been Nicki. I thought she'd get it.
Oh my god,
I thought she'd get it. We're not.
Sam was away. I checked out.
Bye.
Goodbye, y'all. I'm away to the ether.
Right, so this is
Sam.
And this is Nicki.
And we are just two lassies. And thank you so much for watching.
Yes, thank you so much. We love you.
Mwah. Goodbye.
Bye.